Well, it's a good afternoon from the Sydney Niners DNA team. You've got Pete and Jono here. It's a Saturday afternoon here. We're getting set up for our Monday morning, but doing all our homework for the NFL Week 5. We've got a bit of a different show for you today. Both Jono and I are punters, and a lot of people who love sports do like a bet. And so with that in mind, we thought we would give you a little insight into how we're going to approach this weekend's games, with a special focus, obviously, because we're Niners followers on the Niners team. We're going to give you some individual bets that you can take, and then Jono's going to take you through why and how, and then what they'll look like as a multi. Then I want to give you my best multi of the week, and then my best bet of the week. So without further ado, and I hate saying that word, I don't know why, but sometimes it's dead. But Jono, I'm going to hand it over to you, mate. And before I do, though, you've got a special shout out to give.
Yeah, no, I'm just enjoying a rainy Saturday afternoon here. I just decided to tuck into a Bolters while watching as much sport and action as I can on an afternoon where we've had league wrap for us for the season. So we're kind of skim on sporting action, but we've got Bathurst 1000 happening. They just had to can the top 10 shootout. But a special shout out to the Rose brothers, so to Maddie, Trenny, and Georgie, who are they're running No Limit Boxing at the moment. They've got a big Saturday happening up at Newcastle at the moment. 20 fights all day up at the Newcastle Entertainment Centre. It's a super Saturday boxing festival. 20 fights, as I was saying, culminating in Nikita Zoo going at it tonight. So if you're doing nothing, make sure you can grab a watch of that, because there's plenty of action going on. I was watching them all last week. Georgie put the boots on again and went out for WAC in the Curry knockout. And the WAC boys went down in the final. But I'm sure they're pretty sore, but happy to be there this Saturday and not part of the action.
Latrell Mitchell and Joel Thompson also taking part in that Curry knockout.
Absolutely. And little Benny Barber.
Yeah, Benny Barbs. All right, so let's get into it, Jono. So let's start with.
Let's do it.
We've got some, as we said, we've got some individual bets that will combine into a multi. So let's start off with the Niners are away, and obviously it'll just be some bets with the Niners, but the Niners are away to the Carolina Panthers. What do you got here for us, mate?
Yeah, so obviously this is where I focus all my attention around the Niners, just because it's probably betting-wise is where I have the most knowledge. But one of the things we spoke about in a pod earlier this week was that the 49ers their first half scoring against all teams this season is 41-6. So that means that in 4 games, total scores against them is 6 points, which is an average of 1.5. This is why I'm staring down this going 7.5 is pretty juicy, because it even allows the Panthers to score a touchdown, and you're still covered here in the first half betting market. So at $1.70, I'll be going the unders for sure. But I don't think Panthers can get more than 7.5 points against us in the first half.
Especially with Baker Mayfield playing the way he is. He's not making any friends. He's alienated a fan base over there in Cleveland, and it looks like he's alienating the Carolina Panther fans. But anyway, I'm with you, mate. I'm going to take the unders based on that stat. So next off, we've got Jeff Wilson Jr., one of our favourite players, on rushing yards.
Yeah, and this is probably my best bet of the game. And it's Jeff Wilson to go over 70.5 yards. So we're looking for 71 yards or more here. As soon as Jeff Wilson Jr. became the feature running back for the 49ers with Elijah Mitchell going down, we saw Jeff Wilson. He's averaging 18 carries a game for the 49ers. And in his last 3 games, he's gone 84 yards, 75 yards, and 74 yards. So we're only asking him, at 18 carries, we're probably expecting him to get around 3.95 yards a carry or 4 yards a carry, which is what the Carolina defense is giving up in excess of that per play. So I can see Jeff Wilson Jr. doing that pretty comfortably, and hopefully we're in a position where we are toting the rock because we are comfortably in front. And that's generally the way that you're closing out games. And Jeff Wilson Jr. seems to be the guy that Kyle Shanahan's now using as the standalone player, even though he's got other running backs on that roster.
As they say, mate, money for jam, better than bank interest. JWJ will go over the 70.5. My money will be on him as well. The next one we have is in regard to our man Deebo Samuel, one of the most exciting players in the NFL. Lucky enough, we have him on our team. And what have you got on his receiving yards there, John?
Debo, if you put him on a graph, he is the climbing worm at the moment. So he's gone 52, 53, 73, and 115 receiving yards per game. I expect that trend to continue, and I loved the usage by Kyle Shanahan of Debo last week, where he only put him in the backfield to run the ball twice, which is a significant drop in carries from the backfield for him. And they're actually starting to target him, at the line of scrimmage or beyond the line of scrimmage, which is probably Debo's best usage. And as a result, you've seen his yards go forward from there. And with the yak that he offers, over 60 is screaming out to be able to do that, considering that he's on the end of 28% of all passes that Jimmy Garoppolo is throwing.
Great stats, mate. These are juicy odds too. Now, last week, Talanoa Hufanga was paying what, $10?
Yeah, the 49ers defense was paying about $10 just for us to score. And I tipped it in week 2, and I didn't do it in week 3, and I'm sorry, in week 3, and I didn't do it in week 4. So I'm kicking myself for not doing it. But I'm looking to go here again. I think that pressure that they put on Baker Mayfield lines yourself up here for a little juicy pick 6. Or a Nick Bosa strip sack. Something's going to happen. We know Nick Bosa hates Baker Mayfield. He'll look to plant the flag again on him. And hopefully, the 49ers can get something defensively on the board.
I haven't got it here, but even Jimmy Ward being back this week, looks like Jason Verrett might not make it back, but Jimmy Ward definitely will get some snaps. So he might be a sneaky little one you can throw in there at probably big odds being on the defensive side of the ball. So this one, sorry. Oh, no, here we go. And this is where we combine.
And the one that I wanted to talk about that we're going to throw into that one, if you go into in that next slide, was the Baker Mayfield. Just because we've been talking about Baker Mayfield, they're asking for 193 yards for him to pass. Now, the 49ers defense just does not allow that to happen. He doesn't have the weapons, in my opinion, to be able to have that. I think we're way too stingy on him. He's only averaging 186 yards, and he's had games of 170 and 145 yards. And I expect, and they were against the Saints and the New York Giants. Now, the Saints have got a bit of a defense that sort of likes to cramp and limit passing. And I think we're just as good as that. So unders for Baker Mayfield to roll into with these 4 bets here, where you can literally take a large stake at $1.88 and chew off on some of those options, or you can multi it all up, which will get you in that next slide, Pete. I think will get you.
Before we get to the next slide, mate,
go for it.
I wanted to mention that Christian McCaffrey is obviously their rushing back, and probably someone that I was reading on. I was listening to 95.7, the radio station over in the States in San Francisco, who do cover the Niners, about potentially trading for McCaffrey because of what we do with our running backs. But anyway, he's 270 yards in rushing so far. So that's where they're getting all their offense. And so there's no way that Baker Mayfield is going to go over the 192. Look, the guys in Australia over here, we're using Sportsbet as our wagering operator and giving us these markets. And I don't know, maybe they want to employ us, mate, because I'm telling you.
Or maybe not.
Juicy. So look at that, mate. You've got 950.
Yeah, this is where I'm going. I'm 4-legging this same game multi to get 950, and I think that's pretty juicy. If you wanted to get extra extravagant, you could throw in the 49ers defense to score, which would sort of skyrocket that into somewhere near the $60-$70 mark. If you wanted to go at that, but I think that's fairly juicy right there.
So just a little $20 on that. Look at that. That's almost $2,000. So, mate, I think they're very well researched, very well articulated bets there, mate, for the punters out there, and for especially our Niners punters. What I've done, mate, is I've gone for multi myself, and I'm taking it's a dog bet. It's an underdog, as they say in the States. It's taken 4 dogs to get the job done, and what we mean by that, guys, is that we are giving these guys the chance with the handicap. So the New York Giants do get a +7.5 against the Green Bay Packers. And see, the thing is, you see here New York Giants playing at Green Bay. They are not playing in Green Bay. They are playing in London. Aaron Rodgers took a long time to get going last week. He doesn't travel well. I don't think he enjoys leaving the creature comforts of his home. Again, I don't. He's definitely missing the receivers that he had last year. Well, that obviously receiver Devontae Adams that is over in with the Raiders and is just getting used to. He's one of these quarterbacks that takes a while to trust his receivers, and we know that Christian Watson is a person that's dropped one of his balls, who actually played with Trey Lance at North Dakota State. So for me, I don't know if they can beat them, but the odds of 7.5, well, the handicap spread of 7.5, I think is too juicy to $1.95 for me. Detroit Lions are due, I think, especially I think they could win this game. They've got Zap in at the New England Patriots have got Zap in because of Mac Jones still being injured. He's a backup quarterback.
Yeah, that's confirmed.
That's confirmed. So again, with 3.5 point start, Jared Goff is starting to really get in control of this Detroit Lions offense.
Yeah, they're chucking it all over the yard at the moment, aren't they?
Everywhere, mate. He's playing better than Russell Wilson, who was lauded to be better, and he's playing better than Matthew Stafford. So I think the Detroit Lions, although they've had a 1-3 start, are in for a bigger year. And so I'm going to take them at the dog price of $1.81. Cardinals are at home to the Philadelphia Eagles, and 5.5 points is way too much against the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia, obviously, Jalen Hurts is slinging the rock all over the place. They've got a great defense. They've got Jordan Mailata at offense at left tackle, an Australian guy who did play some second row for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. But 5.5 points is just way too much for me, and $1.89 again is juicy. And when you can already see punters on the board in the 4 legs, you're getting a price of $12.27. And then on Monday Night Football, we've got the Raiders. The Raiders are it's my little graphic there is taken up my because I've just forgotten who
plus 7.5 against the Chiefs.
Plus 7.5 for the Chiefs, and I just got to get rid of that because that's going to make a noise. Look, the Chiefs are a formidable football side, and this is probably the one that, even though it's a lower price, the one that I'm probably most worried about. But I still think they can get the job done based on the fact that, again, he's a new coach. It's week 5, as we discussed yesterday, Jono. Week 5 is when everything starts to gel. It's
a division game.
It's a division game, and they're always
anything can happen in a division game.
That's right, and 7.5 points to me, because I've gone through all the 16 games because there's 32 teams. These are the ones that I've found are way overs, and as an old punting adage is, you take the overs. So New York Giants into Detroit Lions into Arizona Cardinals into the Las Vegas Raiders to get the job done as underdogs. Multi-price there. It's a 4-legger. Sportsbet may have a promotion on where you get money back if one of them fails. But anyway, my money will be on that. I'll have, as I've said, I've got a little $25 on that, and you can see I get about $350 back. So just to recap, guys, if we just go back over those bets from myself, I won't go back over mine, but if you just go back over Jono's, Jono had the Panthers going under the points in the first half, based on the fact that, give me the fact.
Based on the fact that 49ers are outscoring opponents 41-6 in the first half this year against an awful Panthers offense. Jeff Wilson Jr. for the overs. He's getting 18 carries a game. All he needs to do is average 4 carries in a game where they should be winning, so he should be toting the rock all the way. Deebo Samuel. Trending up. They're starting to use him in the right way on those slants and those short screen passes. He's ready to rock at 60s. This is my value bet. So take it. I think they're going to be all over Baker.
8.25. It's juicy. And there's the multi.
There's that multi with the Baker Mayfield under on the passing. You can get that at 9.50.
Yeah, and I think if we can sort of spread those bets, I'm going to take probably the defense, and I might throw Jimmy Ward in there as a little multi. I'm going to take my multi, I'm going to take yours, as well as probably JWJ. I think we could have a pretty profitable weekend, mate.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you can package that up any way you want. You don't have to go all in on the multis. You can start to sort of start looking at those different bets across the different games and start to double it and treble it and do whatever. You can get very, very exotic with your betting. But there's obviously some value there.
All right, mate. Well, that's it for us for the wagering information and our valued bets and our best bets for the weekend, especially focusing on the Niners because they're the team that we follow. And as Jono had mentioned, the ones that we have the most knowledge around. There's a league-wide multi that I've shown you, obviously, based on the fact that the underdogs have got the overs points. So I'll see you tomorrow evening, Jono, for our preview where the San Francisco 49ers go to Carolina to hopefully beat the Panthers.
Absolutely. Go Niners.
All right, mate. See you, pal.